Alright guys, this is a long playing review for ATV Simulator on the Amstrad CPC, released by Codemasters in 1988. But the ZX Spectrum and C64 versions came first, however, with the former in around November or December of 87 and the latter around February 1988. CPC owners had to wait until around October of 1988 to get their version. And just in case you don't know, ATV means all-terrain vehicle, and where you can see what one of them is on the quite nice box art there, and in-game of course. And we're now firing up the Amstrad Longplay, playing the cracked version. I've got quite a nice loading screen here. That is really nice actually, nice and colourful and well drawn. And there we go, a few credits there. Game design creation Tim Miller, music by David Whittaker. Yes, that's right, coding and graphics was done by Tim Miller. He's also known for converting the Darling brothers, who roamed and ran Codemasters' own game BMX Simulator to the CPC, and helped on Frankenstein Jr. for Codemasters. His only other game was Tour de Force for Gremlin Graphics. And of course, excellent music as always from the always excellent David Whittaker. But I'm sure this tune has been reused on other games from Codemasters before, but it's a nice short little ditty, and there's little bits of filler music as well in the game, as we'll find out. I note there's an option there for one player or maybe two players. We shall have a look at that at the end of the video for some simultaneous two-player action. And let's kick things off on the first trail, which is sand duning. Now we've got a tiny small little window there, and we've got mode 1 4 colour graphics. Actually not a bad sense of speed. It feels initially quite slow, but once you get up to full speed and start jumping off things, oh, this bit's really difficult here. There's no real way of getting over those bits there apart from trying to jump them at a very slow speed. Keep doing a wheelie, make sure you land on your back wheels and not on your front wheels after a jump, like so. And that's the first course done. Quite simple, quite quick. Nice jingler music there. And this is a game that is highly requested at times on my Amstrad CPC live streams called the Amstream. Whenever we do a request night, ATV Simulator seems to come up quite a lot. There seems to be like a small number of you, but a small number of you that really love this game. And I don't think I ever owned this as a kid until much later on, when I got like a big bag of like loose cassettes at a car boot sale, and ATV Simulator was one of them. And I remember not being initially impressed by it because, well, the small window, it feels initially slow, and the kind of muddy, like, 4-colour Mode 1 graphics. However, I found myself an hour later still playing the game, and it's kind of deceptively a good game. It kind of draws you in, and there's quite a bit of depth to it with the various positions you can get your ATV in terms of the wheeling and the speed and stuff like that. And now on this level, there's some actually complicated jumps and very clever jumps you need to pull off here. So if you can bounce off the ball there. I don't know why there's a beach ball in the middle of the Arctic or whatever. And who the hell is playing with it? We're not exactly at the beach, but there we go. And you can bounce off the beach balls there. And make sure you land on your back wheels pulling a wheelie, not on your front wheels, otherwise you go flying off your ATV. And there's actually a lot to consider about your speed, how much of a wheelie you're pulling. Sometimes too much of a wheelie is bad for you. You could go flying off the back of your ATV. And it's actually quite a cool little budget game. And the reason why there's such a small window is you can have simultaneous 2 players. So the second player will take the window below. And it's definitely got very much a Kickstart feel to it, if anyone remembers Kickstart. Wasn't too popular on the Amstrad, but was massively popular on the C64. Very difficult jump there to pull off. Now, some of the physics I don't think is particularly spot on. well, for example, it's easier there just to go flying through the pyramid, and you fall off your bike, you have to actually control your character and get him to jump back on the bike. That's kind of cool. That pyramid there at the end, the easiest way is just to go flying through it, and actually that gets you a quicker time rather than trying to slowly climb it at a terribly slow speed. But the physics sometimes are a little bit off. There's certain jumps that I thought I should be able to get over at a slow speed and pulling the right wheelie, and I went flying off. And I used a snapshot when practicing this game to test going at the same speed and the same angle on your wheelie, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I think the physics sometimes are a little bit off and a little bit random, which is annoying to me when you've been playing this game in depth trying to get the perfect run for a long play. The birds on this level are really stupid inclusion, as you'll see later in this level, and really frustrating. I don't know why they added them as some kind of obstacle that you can't actually really do anything to avoid. You just have to go flying into them and hope you make it through. On the Commodore 64 version, those birds seem to spread out left and right a lot more, giving you a bit more of a chance. But this bit is just particularly stupid. Okay. Let's talk about the other versions very quickly then. Remember, the Speccy version came out nearly a year earlier, but it's actually very similar to the Amstrad, obviously reusing the same code and graphics, the CPC is anyway. However, I think things look better on the CPC with your player and his ATV kind of filled in the sprites and not looking hollow like on Speccy. Generally, the CPC I think looks better overall and has a much nicer loading screen as well. As for how it runs, I honestly can't tell if either version runs faster or smoother or at a better frame rate. Music and sound effects aren't as good on the Speccy, being all done on the Speccy's one-channel beeper. But basically, it's the same levels and same gameplay. But I think overall, the CPC just wins here. The Commodore 64 came out just a few months after the Speccy and a few months before the Amstrad version. The press at the time, at least the C64 press, didn't like it, calling it a poor man's kickstart, which for Commodore owners, it's going to be compared to that old classic, which was a massive hit on that machine. And yeah, it doesn't favourably compare. Graphics are more colourful than the CPCs, and to be honest, it moves a lot faster and smoother too. A game like this lives and dies on its controls, handling and feeling. I've played this briefly on the Commodore and it's much more sensitive, which is a problem when it's moving much faster than the other versions because precise movements are hard to pull off. There we go. Making the game much more difficult and actually less fun. By all looks and appearances, the Commodore 64 version appears to be better. And it's probably technically better, but I had more fun on the CPC version. And there we go, guys. We've actually completed the game there. And then it just loops around, so no ending. So for me, the CPC version wins here, but I could understand why someone would argue the C64 is better. Oh yeah, it has the same David Whittaker music. Not sure which sounds better, the SID or the AY chip rendition. I'll leave that up to personal preference. As for magazine reviews at the time, this was reviewed in the October 1988 issue 37 of Amstrad Action. They weren't overly glowing about this one and said it's a little lacking in depth and sophistication over the long term. Well, we've completed this fairly quickly, so it is a short game. They gave the graphics 56%, the sonics 63%, grab factor 66%, staying power 52%, and an overall AA rating of 63%. And there we go. Right, I'm just messing about there to show you some of the different moves you can pull off in the game. And we're back on the title screen. So I'm going to give my overall review now. I actually have quite good fun in this game. After extensive playtesting, there are faults. I don't think the physics work exactly the same every time. It's frustrating how sometimes you can't get over some obstacles a certain way and other times you can. Small playing area, a little bit on the slow side, but I think that actually plays to its strengths in terms of how you get over the obstacles, so I'm not too bothered about the speed. Graphics would have been nicer in mode naught or something, but overall, guys, I think I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10 from me overall. And now we're going to take a quick look at the simultaneous 2-player mode. Quick edit here. And there's actually an option there for 2-player slow, 2-player fast. Basically on 2-player fast, it's removed the background graphics, so it runs slightly quicker. It's about as quick as it normally would be in 1-player mode. And there you go, simultaneous 2-player action. I think this game would be really good fun with a friend to play against and compete against. So maybe add a few more marks on the score for that if you had a friend to play against. Yeah, and he actually plays pretty decently, actually. Not too much slower than the 1-player version. I don't know what the background graphics added would add to the speed or slow it down, but there we go. Yeah, so I think overall, guys, 7 out of 10 from me. A fun little game, good budget release, a good budget release. There we go. Both crashed there badly. Right, so thanks for watching, guys, and see you all again very soon. Goodbye.
So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please click a like below, leave a comment, and also subscribe if you haven't already. And over that way, there's another video for you to check out. Zypho, out.